Alright, everybody. Welcome to episode 302 of Psykos Platters. Always powered by coffee each and every time. The title of this episode will be Goodbye from the Record Room. So, let me tell you something, okay? The good news is, excuse me a second, wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, not a Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction. Remember that nip slip? Yeah, never mind, I digress. So, I mentioned on and off a few episodes back that I was going to have to move from where I was at. You cannot see, but behind this camera here, I already have boxed up albums. I'm far from being done, but I've got album boxes boxed up already. I sold a bunch, not as much as I really maybe wanted to do yet, but I still got plenty. And well, I like this record room. I never had something like this. Okay, I created, when I moved into this house, which I thought was in 2016, and I'm wrong, it's 2017 I moved here. 3 years and a month ago. For people keeping score, roughly I started from the record room at around episode 200. So I shot over 100 episodes pretty much from in here. And some people want or gloat about their man caves. This was my man cave. This was my the record room was my man cave. It's also actually the quietest room in the house, which is kind of funny, really. Never say never, but where I'm moving to, there ain't gonna be a record room. I'm moving into a 2-bedroom apartment, duplex-ish, you know, with my almost 25-year-old son. And while I will have room to put the stereo system back together, I'm just going to have to be either basic or a little creative when I come back from my hiatus. I decided that, being that we're filming this, excuse me, on the evening of September 26th, 2020, just a couple hours from now I'll turn 53. So I just wanted to thank everybody in the VC that has supported me through the years. I do also have to apologize to members of the VC. Certain people have brought up things that I maybe forgot. I know one person, and I'm not going to call him out, rightfully asked me questions. You know, he did. I asked for questions, and for some reason I glossed over, or I didn't see them, or whatever the reason was. So I'm sorry about that to that particular individual. My mind is not exactly all here. It hasn't really been for a couple years, actually. Even shortly before Jess and my dad passed. And my other friends, too. I didn't even tell you guys, I had a dear friend of mine literally die 5th of September. Who was a friend of mine for 20 plus years. And I was actually planning on going to see her on my Illinois trip. But she took a turn for the worse all of a sudden and passed. Her name was Patsy. She was a dear, beautiful woman with a beautiful heart. So, I'm going to be taking off all of October. So, no new episodes for the month of October. And for part of that reason, of course, is I'll be, the move, which I'll be doing over the next week, which will go into October, and then the following week I will be in Illinois for about 11, 12 days. Well, some of that, and then a little bit of Missouri, too. So I'm not going to have time to really do anything. Although I am going to say this. If you have an Instagram account, go check me out. It's going to be under PSYKO_DJ. So Psycho _DJ on Instagram. I might shoot short little videos from Illinois. I'm not promising that yet, but if I've got time, I might shoot a little bit. Won't be much, but to keep you guys busy per se. I want to thank 2 new subscribers, Tough Bubbles. Yes, Tough Bubbles and Ken Frank. Thank you very much, of course, for subscribing to the Mighty Psycho. I normally do not whip my phone out during one of these, but I'm going to explain why. There was a question that was posted in episode 300, and a comment also. So, Tough Bubbles went off and said, never push out content and always strive for content that you enjoy and are interested in because it shows. Keep up the good work. And for that I thank you. And you know what, you're right. I don't think I've ever just gone off just to do. I had to feel up to it. I know this sounds really weird, but sometimes it was physical, sometimes it was mental. So let me go to Matthew Street, because he's the one that asked me a question. Huge Beatle fan and others, and a dear VC friend of mine, honestly. So, I'm just going to read the whole thing, because there's questions in there. He goes, well, wow, one of your greatest videos ever. So honest, heartfelt, and real. Thanks for being so open and sharing your feelings with us. You know you're loved out here. Keep doing what you're doing. It means a lot to many of us, just like your videos out there, guys. Mean a lot to me, too. And I have to apologize. Due to work and kids and grandkids, I don't get to see as many of them as I like. I try. There's so many channels that I'm subbed to. Everybody that subs to me, I sub to you also. Okay? Because I believe in the love and the VC. Share and share alike. So please don't feel insulted if I don't quickly get to your video. It's not because I'm ignoring anybody in the VC. It's just I got slices of time. That's what I've got. So he goes off and asks me, what are your early memories that caused you to become so passionate about music? I know this is going to sound real goofy. I think I might have brought up a little bit about this before. Maybe. I started, well, let's see. I figured out, well, I had a kiddie record player, okay, and then I figured out my mom's record player by around the age of 5 or 6. And I'm like, wow, and I like the sounds that were coming out of it, okay? My mom's record collection, she had all different kinds of things. She had Rolling Stones, she had some Motown, she had Stevie Wonder, James Taylor, all different kinds, right? So she'd always have something on there. It was pretty cool, I thought. And so I just remember that I enjoyed the sounds that I heard. I started buying records at garage sales, and sometimes brand new. I think I brought up before that I remember one of the first 45s that I remember getting was John Lennon's Mind Games, because I actually liked that one. And I also remember getting Bob Dylan's Knocking on Heaven's Door as a 45, and I remember playing those. But I mean, sometimes I'd go backwards, you know, like there was this little neat small, I'm going to say it was a church resale shop just across the tracks in downtown Crystal Lake. They shut down, I want to say, mid to the late 70s, okay? So this is a long time ago, but I remember going there with my grandma. And I would just pick up, I know this can sound goofy, but I picked up records by the looks of the labels and the looks of the covers. And because of that, along with the garage sale stuff from when I was a kid, I remember that I went to go visit my grandma. This would have been a 90s story, and she found a box in the attic. Ugh, I'm surprised they were not damaged, because that attic could get a little bit hot. But I guess they were well covered. And I'm like, and she goes, I found a box of records. And I'm like, what is all this? This is the stuff you bought from garage sales and that church resale shop. And back then I must have had good taste, because I had Monkees, Dave Clark 5. I had, what else did I have in there? Stones, Beatles, all kinds of things. In fact, there was rarely a stinker in the box. And I'm like, wow. So I was tuned into all that. When I wasn't even a teenager yet, and I loved 50s music. For some reason, I picked up on that. Now, Chicagoland, of course, you know, yes, I listened to WLS and Super CFL in the 70s, so I was good with the top 40 stuff, okay? And sometimes they throw a little bit of an older thing there, too. But there was oldie stations back then. I do remember it. It's a stretch. But I used to listen to all that stuff, okay? And so but there was something built into my head. I can't explain it. That I loved the 50s stuff. And my mother, I remember, was surprised that I loved this stuff, which some of that music was stuff that she was listening to when she was a preteen or a teenager. And I dug it. Elvis, I started liking Elvis around 1975, 76. Picked up on my radar. I started collecting all that stuff. So I was only 8 or 9. And I got into Elvis, all right? By the time 1979 hit, I was 12. Beatles. I started collecting Beatles by age of 12, you know, shortly before Lennon died. So it was really, really strange that I started getting into that. But, I mean, I'll admit, I was kind of focused, but when that record store opened up, when Skip's Full Circle Records in Crystal Lake, Illinois opened, he blew my mind. He did. He threw out so much variety into my head. And I think I brought this story up before, but just bear with me for a second, okay? This is a long-winded video. I know it's going to be. So savor and enjoy it like a fine steak. So, I remember this was... I was there at his store. For some godforsaken reason, he was there. And I remember this was like New Year's Day. It was either 1981 or 82, because I remember it was snowing lightly. Nobody else came into the store. He had the store open that day, and I was bored. I was bored because, you know, I was still off of school, of course, for Christmas vacation. And I came in there, and he said, "Hey, Skip." Now, it always kind of smelled a little bit like a cross between marijuana and incense. I didn't care. I knew what the hell it smelled like. I wasn't dumb. But not that day for some reason. And he's just like, hey. He goes, I was about ready to close up, but, I'm glad you're here. I think I looked through some stuff. And he goes, Paul, he goes, get yourself a cup of coffee. Let's have some coffee. He goes, he goes, have you ever heard blues music? And I said, I don't think so, Skip. And he was a aficionado. It's how that wrong. He had a big 78 collection. He did. Blues, doo-wop, R&B. He showed me things all the time over those years. But for those 2 to 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, I'm sitting there drinking coffee for the first time. Okay? Drinking coffee for the first time. And he's playing me blues that I never heard before. I heard the Lemon Song. Okay, I heard all kinds of other things. And he would go off and go, this band got it from this. This band got it from this. Which I learned a lesson that day. That old blues music was full of feeling and awesome. But it also meant that this begat this, begat this, begat this. In other words, every generation of music, there was somebody before. Except this current shit that's been out for about the last 10, 15 years. I don't know what the hell that's called. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an old man, almost. But I don't even know what to call this crap. But, I learned a lot that day is what I'm getting at. That was some of the things. So I started appreciating, as an early teen, the blues music too, and the R&B. And like I said, I started expanding more and more and more as I was, as my collection was growing. This collection I have is my third collection, actually. Like I said, I'm paring it down some, but that's okay. Like I said before, you can't take it with you. So I hope I answered that question, Matt. And then you asked me, and your favorites as a young boy and teenager. Well, like I said, I think as far as for young boy, I remember turning on, of course, the Monkees. That was the main reason why I turned into a Monkees fan, was because they call around my age second generation Monkees fans, okay? Because your original generation was the one that saw them from 66 to 68, okay? The second gen fans are the ones that saw them from 69 to I think they had it out into about 72, 73. Okay, and I do remember seeing them on Saturday mornings. I want to say it was CBS. So I had to have been 5 years old. So that's second, and then third would be your syndicated past that. So non-network syndicated. So I'm just on the tail end of that. But I really got hooked by that music. It was beautiful, good time music. But saying that, didn't care for the Partridge Family so much. I remember that. I was like, Banana Split. I know, crazy bits on those shows, right? But I liked most of the music. It was strange. I'm still looking for that Banana Splits album. I think Doug Fields has got a copy of that. I would love to find a copy of that Banana Splits album. So, you had that stuff mixed with the WLS Super CFL radio. So you got that mix, right? MTV wasn't around yet. So once in a while, I would get to catch Midnight Special or, here comes my bad impression of the day, kids. I'm Don Kirshner, and this is Don Kirshner's rock concert. Yeah. The Don Kirshner rock concert stuff needs to get put out on DVD or Blu-ray or streamed or something, okay? Because there's so many of those I would love to see. Midnight Special, I'm glad a lot of that's out on DVD. I've got a big 6 DVD set. Probably going to try to find more of those too. Of course, Saturday Night Live would have their music stuff too. Fridays, had their music stuff, you know, so all of these bands were coming into my preteen universe. Some of them were good, some of them were way out there. I remember, for example, seeing the Plasmatics on Fridays, okay? I thought right off the bat, I'm like, even though she had that mohawk, Wendy O. Williams was hot. I don't care what anybody says. But when they finished off with Butcher Boy, I think it was Butcher Baby, and pulls the shotgun out and everything starts breaking, and then it's all cacophony. It's musical cacophony. And they just leave the stage. Like, we're done. And I just like, my parents looked at, they were like, what the hell did we just see? And I remember looking at that screen saying, this is either the future or music, or this is just total chaos. Because I knew about punk. I knew about the Sex Pistols. I remember like WLS played the Sex Pistols once, because just to make fun of them. Okay. So, I mean, little dabblings of punk. But, you know, I'd almost listen to anything, to tell you the truth. I listened to a bunch of old-time radio shows back in the 70s, and sometimes the classic country stations, not too much, but we're talking 70s classic country stations, okay? So your 40s to 60s. That's how I appreciated Hank Sr. and Ernest Tubb and others like that, okay? And Bill Monroe, who I got to see once in the 80s. So, I hope that answered that. I know, like I said, I really didn't have any new vinyl because I've been too busy. I have been too busy, but something tells me that there will be some Illinois vinyl finds in October, okay? But I'm not sure what's going on. I know that I think we're going to take parts of the weekends and head out. I know one direction we're going to head out towards the Rockford, Illinois area. That's going to be one part. And then the other part could be southern Wisconsin. Might hit up southern Wisconsin, maybe some other parts there too, to look for things. That'd be kind of nice. Alright guys, I love you all. I do. I appreciate you guys standing by me through thick and thin here in the VC, okay? I meant what I said in 300. You guys are my second family. And I take pride in that, guys. I really do. So, Mighty Psycho, for now, saying goodbye to the record room, but not saying goodbye yet, kids. Not goodbye. I still got a little bit left in me. Take care. God bless. Rock on, guys.